In honor of the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, we're beginning our show today a little bit solemn.
Well, yeah.
And it is Thursday here live in the studio. But if you're watching on a replay,
Or in England,
in England, it's going on 3:30. It's 8:30 p.m.
okay,
there.
so they're partying already, drinking hard.
I don't know if they're partying, but early this morning there was a 4 to 5 mile queue to see the Queen lying in state at Westminster Hall, which is the oldest part of the church complex.
20 years ago, somebody passed away. And it was 200,000 people that waited. They expect 400 to 500.
Well, there haven't been many people who have been given and afforded the lie in state. I think the last person who did that was the Queen Mother. So that may have been who it was.
We're going to talk about England because people get all confused. We'll talk about it after.
Okay.
So
anyway, that's our cold open. And I'm Mark Trowbridge from our Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to each of you. And I'm here, of course, always with the very attractive
Grant Miller.
Grant Miller here.
So today
early
is a very important day.
It is. Because of the cheeseburger, I was dying laughing because I was like, I didn't have lunch because I had to do a workshop. You remember that time that guy ate an entire thing of coffee ice cream in 11 minutes?
Who was that?
I have no idea.
Well, that's your burger.
Where is this from? It's beautiful.
Well, we try to go to. Can you bring the napkin over?
Andres is producing our show today, so of course, he's having to put up with our shenanigans.
Usually
it smells really good. You don't mind if I have a little ketchup here?
Usually we get it from Clutch Burger.
Right. But our friend is, gone big time. He's out shilling for the governor and in commercials and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take a napkin. All right. So it's not from Clutch. Where's it from? It smells great.
Berries.
We should just do In the Grove.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that place. So they're open early. We used to go there a lot for brunch right there on 27th.
Right.
27th Avenue.
Right next to your order guy.
Yes, very close to Elliott and Pure Water Factory. So today is National Double Cheeseburger Day. And boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, this is indeed a double cheeseburger. All right, let's see if I can do this without looking crazy. And I've got a ribbon cutting later, so I don't want to have
what ribbon cutting? What ribbon cutting?
A member.
Who? Why am I not on the list? We used to do videos, and I'm not on the list anymore. Why?
Did you upset somebody?
I'm sure I did.
This is Crudo's house. 6 o'clock tonight.
Where's that?
It's where the old swine was, right across from Cheesecake Factory. Next door to FedEx Kinko's.
I love Cheesecake Factory. I don't care where it is. Cheesecake Factory is the same no matter where you eat. Any good?
It's great. The only thing I would tell you is that when we go have a burger, I order mine rare.
Why?
Because I just like a rare burger.
I like them well done.
I know. This is a well done guy. Still quite flavorful and delicious. Thank you, Berries in the Grove. Yes, we have a ribbon cutting tonight at 6 p.m. Public is invited. Crudo's house. Crudo's Art House right there on Ponce, almost at the intersection of Miracle Mile.
Well,
wonderful owner is George from Cali, Colombia. Lovely gentleman. And they've been open a couple months. But
what other holidays? Today is National Online Learning Day.
Yeah.
Green Peace Day.
Yeah. Linguine Day.
Cheese Toast Day. That must be good.
Cheese toast sounds delicious. Is that like Texas toast, but with cheese on it?
Tackle Kids Cancer Day.
Amen. We think about our good friends at Nicholas and all the wonderful work they do at Nicholas Children's Hospital. How about National Creme de Menthe Day? I think that's a drink, right?
I don't know.
I think you put it in milk, creme de menthe.
Well,
and National Felt Hat Day. I have a felt hat in my car I could put on. But you're the guy with all the hats. You have a felt hat?
No.
You know whose hat was made of felt?
Oh,
Abraham Lincoln's big.
that tall one?
That tall hat had some felt on it because that was kind of, the material of the day. It's not very good in the rain. It was a little bit, rainy when I was driving over.
While we're eating, being rude, let's talk about England.
No.
The royal, do they make any decisions on policy in government?
They provide advice to the head, of the government.
And who's the head
So
of
the
the
queen
government?
is the head of state. Now the king is head of state. So, we were together last week.
You and the queen?
No, not the queen and I. Well, I'm sure I was with some queens, but last Tuesday, you and I were together, and it was a big day because the queen was receiving the new prime minister around the time that we were together.
Is the prime minister, is that like the president?
So the prime minister is the head of government. So they are elected differently than a president is, which is elected by, individual people.
How are they elected?
They're elected by their peers, representative form of government. So whichever party is in power, the conservatives,
So
they pick their person. So like the House of Representatives they're kind of like Nancy Pelosi. So they are head of government.
So they would pick internally.
Yeah. So once the party is the party of majority, then they pick their candidate. And so it was really down to kind of two candidates after a number of people had thrown their hat in the ring, and Liz Truss is now the prime minister. Only the third woman serve as head of government in the United Kingdom.
So the king or queen, the royal, what decisions they make, and how do
so they're head of state. They appoint the prime minister after they are picked by their party to form a government in their name, and they have other duties. Remember, they are also presiding as head of state over the Commonwealth countries, of which there are, 12 or 15 of those.
The royal family does.
Yes, the monarch does, and then they are supported by family members who are known as working royals.
And who pays for all those people in that cap?
It's paid for through your taxes, I think is how it's funded. So there are people in England that are not monarchists, as they would be called or known, that are anti-monarchy, that don't want to see all that money spent on, supporting the work of the royal family. Then there are those who see the great benefit, the amount of money they raise and charity and all the patronages they have.
Paid?
I don't think it's so much that she gets a wage, it's that they cover her living expenses. So, Buckingham Palace is working. So somebody's paying, the rent there and the light bill.
Who's paying Prince Charles? How does he get to go all over the world?
King Charles III,
right?
Same thing. So when he's been, had to fly to Scotland to see his ailing mother before he died. No, he flew private.
They have their own jet.
He's been to Northern Ireland yesterday. He was back to Scotland, receiving condolences on behalf of their governments for his mother's passing.
Is there a push to eliminate that?
I think there have been discussions over the centuries about that. There was a time that the United Kingdom was a republic when Oliver Cromwell, worked it so that the royal family was put into exile. And he served, it was probably, Andres, 1700s, Oliver Cromwell. And then he died and his son took over, which sounds an awful lot like a monarchy.
Right.
And then they invited King Charles II back to continue his reign. He was serving in exile.
Wow. So who's more powerful, the queen or the king or the prime minister?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say, in terms of how the country is run, it is the prime minister. But as a head of state, they are going to represent, along with the prime minister, the United Kingdom at various functions. Yes, the United Kingdom, of course, includes Scotland, the Commonwealth countries. At one time, when Queen Victoria was on the throne, she was also the Empress of India, but India now is a separate
the
country.
Islands here run by...
I believe that the Bahamas...
but they don't get money.
A governor. I'm sure there are, some relationship there that involves money. So I don't know enough about that, except to know that there are those who think that the monarchy is quite expensive.
I think
But I would also tell you, look at the amount of work that the working royals produce the patronages, the charities, the good work they do. So
the two.
Hello, George.
Who's Ashley, Justin, Maria, whatever. So the question I have is like Prince Charles when he said, "I'm out." Is it not Prince Charles? The other one, the one the son says, "I'm out," and they lived to California. Who paid?
Talking about Prince Harry.
Harry.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're willing to turn back certain rights and privileges, and you're always going to be a member of the royal family, you're just not going to be what's called a senior
and you don't get money.
Royal. So you'll notice that when he walked in the procession yesterday, he did not wear his uniform.
The military.
Correct.
He was upset about it, I read.
I don't know if he was upset, but that was the protocol that was determined, that since he is not a working royal, he is not currently a member of the military, that he should not be in uniform.
Now, who pays for his living expenses?
He's paying for those on his own.
Where does he get that money?
Sure, he had an inheritance that came from his mother. But I'm sure, you see that he's working.
What's he doing?
They formed some companies. They have a podcast. I mean, there's a number of things that they are responsible for because they need to make money. So
what do you think about that?
I mean, I think that's the American way.
No, not that they're working, but he just said, "That's it, I'm done." The brothers, do they get along?
There are rumors of a rift that were caused by them deciding to leave the United Kingdom and come to America. I think there was some issues between the two wives that were, maybe a little bit emotional and a little bit difficult. And certainly when they did the interview with Oprah, there was a lot of anxiety caused by the sharing of what typically was the royal family keeps things very close to the vest. They don't really give tell-all interviews.
You know more about this than probably the city of Coral Gables. You must research
it. My last name is Trowbridge, so at some point back in the history of my family, we were
a bridge,
probably royal and loyal subjects. There is a wonderful little town about 45 minutes outside of London called Trowbridge that I have visited. So if you're on the train going from London to Bath, it's about 3/4 of the way there, and I got off and
look for
went to see my people.
Did you see anybody that looked like you?
I did not. Well, I saw a lot of people who looked very pasty and heavy, but I just feel like it was probably a spring day.
There was a movie, I don't remember it. Somebody dies and the chauffeur or whatever he was, he was royal, but nobody knew it.
King Ralph. Did you ever see that? Where John Goodman?
Oh.
They went so far down the line of succession, they find this guy in America who becomes the king.
Right.
And, he's never been
I didn't have a penny
schooled in the ways of the royal family. I mean, one of the things that you have to think about with Queen Elizabeth is that, she was never destined to be queen. Her father was, the second in line to her uncle. And so when her uncle took the reins in 1936, when his father George V died, he had a little problem. So he was in love with an American woman who was a divorcee. And you're also the head of the Church of England, so you cannot be married to anyone who's been divorced unless their spouse is deceased. And then maybe...
Not divorced, you mean a widow.
You have to be widowed, right? You can be divorced and then widowed, but it was a major issue, which is how King Charles was able to marry. Because when Diana passed away,
then he was allowed to.
He was now both divorced but widowed.
All right, now that we spent 10, 15 minutes on England. All right.
You wanted to talk about it. By the way, Monday morning, very early, is the funeral. I think it comes on at 5:30 a.m.
Are you going to be watching it?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Mayfair.
Yes.
You had a trustee. Was that Wednesday or
Tuesday evening? Yeah.
How beautiful is the hotel?
The hotel is absolutely gorgeous. I want to congratulate, their general manager, Lucy. I mean, what an incredible upgrade. They closed during COVID. I want to say maybe a year and a half, but it could have been longer. But, the Mayfair has a tremendous history and pedigree in the Grove, probably like the Mutiny in some ways, been around a very long time. And that was always my go-to spot. If I was going to have a
party?
Romantic weekend staycation. I'm like, I'm going to go to the Grove because you can walk everywhere. Many times.
So I've been to the Mayfair one time. Somebody wedding or reception was there, and they had a room. And I walk in. This is like, we're talking a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they had a jacuzzi in the room. It's
yes.
like, wow.
I have a great story about that I told Lucy.
Okay, can you tell it?
Yeah, I can tell it.
Okay.
So I was there for a romantic weekend, and we had gone and had some dinner and came back, and every room had a Japanese soaking tub for two out on the balcony. So all the rooms
I thought it was a jacuzzi.
Well, it is, but it's called a Japanese soaking tub.
Okay, gotcha.
But it has jacuzzi elements, but it's only for two people. It's not a large jacuzzi. And so, you can crank it up and get it flowing and get it warming up. And so we had set it before we went to dinner. So when we came back, it'd be warm. And then I'm like, let's bob around in that. So, when I got into it, I had forgotten about how water displacement works. And it was filled a little too high for two people, and it overflowed into the hotel room like tremendously. And so I had to call down to the front desk. They sent up housekeeping thinking it was just like a little puddle. And the woman looks at it and she's like, I'll be right back. They had to call engineering, make sure there wasn't a leak. They had to put those big blowers on the carpet that were literally there all weekend.
And how long were you there? 2 nights?
Yeah, it was like Friday night, and I think we left Sunday afternoon. The carpet was still wet. It was so embarrassing. So I told Lucy that story.
How many years ago? What job did you have then?
I think I worked at the city of Miami. No, it was before the chamber, I think. I would be really embarrassed working at the chamber because they've been a long time member.
And then your partner, was he embarrassed?
No, I think I nearly drowned him. So, we're just grateful that everybody got out alive, right? So anyway, it's still incredibly romantic. You may have to skip the Japanese soaking tub, but every room is like a suite. They're huge rooms and really lovely. And again, you can go to the Mayfair Grill. They have a wonderful restaurant.
That just opened, I understand.
That did reopen. Everything's kind of reopened this week. All of the kind of, soft opening of the rooms happened, last month and the early part of this month. But it's pretty darn cool. So.
We have National Parking Day, open house. What?
Yeah, so tomorrow is National Parking Day. So we've participated in this program for a number of years. So what they do is take 3 or 4 parking spaces in front of our office,
right,
and they cordon it off. And the idea is to kind of repurpose the parking spaces for the day. So we're doing a little open house. We've been in the space now exactly 2 years this past weekend.
Wow.
And we're having a little after lunch, come by and get some coffee, get some little pastries. We have Cafe Grumpy. We have Dora's Bakery.
These are all members.
They're members of ours, both of them. And just come by and say hello. No
Getting
agenda.
To know you, all about you.
We love our new home. We've been there unbelievably now for 2 years.
I have to bring up, so you move into this beautiful complex.
Yeah.
Within the first week, what happens?
The first month. We have a terrible water intrusion.
In English?
We had a flood.
Okay. And it has nothing to do with you guys.
No, it was unfortunately when an air conditioning unit was installed, one of the couplings
upstairs
was no, it was in our space, but one of the couplings was stripped and was slowly over that first month we were in there sort of letting go, and then it let go, and very, very cold, chilled water, which then goes at a rapid speed.
Was it going
through the chiller and creates the air conditioning?
Okay, so it went through your building onto the sidewalks, right?
Yeah, we had that. The water was pouring out of that at a rapid pace for 15 to 20 minutes because no one could really figure out where the water was coming from.
Who figured it out?
The building engineer. And so they were able to turn off the water. But at that point, we had water all the way out to the sidewalk. And so, we went through insurance mitigation, and then, we had to have some of our furniture replaced or repaired because it got so much water on it, and baseboards had to be swapped out, and some of our drywall had to be taken care of. But our good friends at Liberty Extraction did all of that, and then we worked with Maureen Mascaro and the team from Common Area Factor to get us back in there. And it took several months because the way the insurance works is they want to come out, look at it, reevaluate it, evaluate it again, and so it's not an easy task.
Andres, while you're waiting, can you walk up front and get a Core Gables news? So,
Thank you, Andres.
Reconnect last week.
Yeah, first one of the year.
And who was it?
We had Martin Morcillo from Smash Pixel, who's also our official chamber photographer, present. And it was really great because, sometimes I think you take the work that photographers do for granted because they're so good at what they do. But, in addition to doing special events with us, weddings and all types of other corporate events, he does your headshots. And you know how important a headshot is?
Yeah.
Now, since I've lost a bunch of weight, I probably had him retake my headshot like 8 times. And he always gives me that look like, yes, Mark, we'll go out by the pool and take your headshot. But
all right. And
I'm very committed to that.
And wow. You had a wow?
Well, that's kind of our, wind down Wednesday.
I know.
Yes, we had that on Wednesday at Vinya.
How was it?
Lovely. I want to thank Jason and Alicia and Nick and the whole team there. Vinya's right on Miracle Mile, just a couple doors down from Actors Playhouse, and a really, really lovely new restaurant. They have one out, I think, on Key Biscayne. Incredible kind of Mediterranean fusion, unbelievable food. And I really love when our restaurants host us for events like that for 2 reasons. One, it's a great way for them to showcase. Right. We had probably 60 or so of our members, but it also reminds people to come back for dinner, for lunch, or stay that night. Absolutely. It's a definitely very positive symbiotic relationship.
So Chamber 101. What's up with Chamber?
That was the following day, and we had a full house of new and prospective members. I think for that one, we maybe had 12 to 15 new members and maybe another half a dozen prospects. So
I just want to hold this up. This is your event?
Very nice.
You want to talk about that?
Sure. So this is our Georgie Merrick Award dinner that happened back on August 18th. And we presented this now, I think 14 years. It's a partnership with Alan Morris and his company. And of course, in the picture, you have our new chairman, Thad Adams, our outgoing chair, Anna Chowie, and our honoree, Mr. Gene Prescott, who is the longtime, president and chairman of the Biltmore. Operator, principal shareholder of his holding group, Seaway, and their affiliates, and an incredible corporate citizen, a gentleman like no other, and a real cowboy. I think he's from Idaho.
Is he wearing? Oh, we got to cut it off. But there he is. The only difference between Gene and I, he has a couple more zeros after his name. He's short. He wears different socks.
After his name, maybe his bank account.
Yeah, after his bank account. After his name, bank account.
He is one of the true legendary leaders in our community, and not just because of his work at the Biltmore, but he's always been very involved in the chamber. He's supported his people being involved. They host our breakfast the third Thursday of,
and they do a great job
every month. His team is great, but they're also very involved in things like Visit Florida, and of course our Convention and Visitors Bureau. Gene's a past chairman. He's been, in the Travel and Tourism Hall of Fame, and he's very special. Well, and his son is working very closely with him, Tom, and of course, Matthias is on our board, Matthias Kammerer. So we're very, very lucky, and we'll be there next Thursday, a week from today.
Matthias is
for our breakfast, and we'll have over 200 people.
Who's speaking?
The mayor is giving his State of the City Beautiful address. So.
Matthias is an interesting guy. Yeah. If you don't know him, you think he's like shy or grouchy, but once you get past that, he's a funny guy.
None of those things. He is Swiss, and so he's very European, very gentlemanly.
His wife, lovely.
Diana's lovely. I just did a program with her yesterday with the real estate community, which was a lot of fun. Was it yesterday?
I don't
Maybe
know.
It was Tuesday.
I'm not invited to. I don't get invited to all the games.
We're really back to a pre-COVID lifestyle where I have meetings all day long. I just got my
booster
5th COVID shot.
Okay, I'm going for the new. I missed.
So that's the 3rd booster.
Yeah, I didn't get the 2nd because I got COVID, but I am going Friday tomorrow to get my booster. But my heart doctor says get both at the same time. A flu shot.
That's what I did. I have a flu shot in this arm last Sunday, and I have my 3rd booster in this arm.
At the same time? Wait, same time, same day.
Same
Michael,
time.
I know you're watching.
I didn't have any side effects other than the arm where my COVID booster is very sore.
Andres, can you knock on the glass?
Which I've had happen 4 out of the 5 times.
So my heart doctor said yes.
Yeah.
Another doctor said don't do it at the same time. You did it. No problem.
No problema. Flu shot here last Sunday, 3:00.
Right.
And my COVID booster number 5.
Same day, same time.
Same day. 1 minute apart.
And you had no.
And the only side effect is that this arm is a little bit sore still, 4 or 5 days.
But you're working out.
Yeah, there's no problem with that.
Right?
I exercised, and everything.
So
I mean, don't think I don't try to milk it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. All right. So this week.
And I'm getting my second monkeypox shot here, I guess, on Monday.
Have
I'm
you got
literally filled. No, but I asked the lady about this.
I got one shot already.
And she told me, she goes, that one do independent of the other shots, because that one does tend to have more side effects with people.
All right. So
did you have any side effects?
What shot?
A shingle shot?
No. So there's so much things going on. You got the breakfast, you got Impact, you got Biltmore Tour.
Yeah, next week is an unbelievable busy week. So Tuesday is our women's business lunch.
Who's speaking?
And we have Ludmila Esquedo, who is from U.S. Century Bank, talking about SBA.
Who is it?
Ludmila Esquedo. Can you say that?
Yeah,
I'm from Ohio, and I nailed
Lucy and
Ludmila.
Okay.
She's very good friends with our former chair, Anna Chowie. I think they used to work together maybe at U.S. Century. But
okay, and then
we have a big crowd coming because it's really about SBA and some of their new initiatives and programs. And we're trying to get people kind of back focused on the core business of SBA, which is working with small and medium-sized businesses.
Well, Michael,
instead of what we've been talking about for the last 2.5 years, EIDL, PPP, things like that. So Ludmila's on Tuesday. We have an impact seminar on Wednesday with our friend Veronica Mojano. And she is with the Ritz-Carlton, and she's doing a program about the gold standard of service for customer service. Thursday's our breakfast with the mayor and the swearing in of our new board.
Michael, just want you to be aware.
Friday.
Tell him that you got both shots at the same time.
I got them at the same time, a minute apart. COVID 5, flu shot annual. You want to have a lookie? I made them give me a Walgreens red, a red Band-Aid for both of them.
Way to go, Marky.
I've taken them off now since then. Friday the 23rd, we've got Café con Chamber at the new restaurant on Miracle Mile called Pura Vida. And then Saturday, we've got an event at the Biltmore, an architectural tour.
So you have 5
at 11.
5 big
We're going
events.
5 days in a row. We don't usually like to do that, but it just happens to be the way the month falls. The breakfast normally would be a week earlier, but because of the mayor's schedule and the Biltmore had a buyout, we had to move it till next Thursday.
All right, so let's talk about big weekend plans. What 20th anniversary?
Well, this was this past weekend, so congratulations to our friends at the Children's Trust, celebrating 20 years of investing in children and families here in Miami-Dade County.
I saw you at their kickoff.
You were there, and Mayor Daniela was there, and our good friend. You snub your nose at that.
Thanks for making fun of it.
We're not done with that. But you love, this is a very professional studio. People are allowed to come in and just start screaming during the show.
So you get Chapman.
Gosh, I feel like we need security here.
You get Chapman's anniversary big parties this weekend.
Chapman is this Saturday. I'm not attending that because I'm going to the Lady Gaga concert. Where
is it?
She's at the Hard Rock Stadium.
No way. Oh, in the stadium, not in the
stadium. It's not in the arena.
Are you in a box?
In a suite, yeah.
Who's?
I'm a guest of the wonderful people at the Dolphins Challenge Cancer.
That girl,
Allison Mulder. It's lovely. One of our newest ambassadors, by the way.
Allison is lovely. Not that lovely because she didn't invite me, but that's okay.
Well, she did allow me to bring a guest, but I'm taking your workout partner.
Who?
Denise, because she's a big Lady Gaga fan.
Who? Okay.
So I want you to know, I was supposed to be at a birthday party, but this is more important.
I was not a
Lady Gaga doesn't come here that often.
I'm not a Lady Gaga fan. I wasn't.
Oh, well.
I wasn't.
FCC don't call us.
Okay,
or the FAA.
I was not a fan of hers. But when she did that movie,
Yes, A Star is Born.
Oh my God, I fell in love with her.
She was phenomenal in it.
I mean,
You know, that movie's been made a number of times,
but
she put her own imprimatur
it's like
on it. And when she sang that song, Shallow, first of all, amazing song. I think it won an Oscar. Did that song win an Oscar?
Andres,
Shallow.
Can you
that
check?
she sang with Bradley Cooper.
But she looks so beautiful in it. She's not beautiful. There, she was. I mean,
Lady Gaga, I apologize for Grant
she's
Miller,
good looking,
who
but she was like
only thinks he is beautiful.
no, but she was stunning.
Anyway,
I
I went to the big kickoff.
Wait. So who's in the room with
And I
you?
just want to say, the Children's Trust has a beautiful exhibit at the museum down there, the
History Miami
Museum. So if you want to go and see about the 20 years. By the way, all of you who are property owners, you are taxpayers. You pay 0.5 mils on your tax bill. So if you pull out your trim notice, you'll see what that is in terms of you're paying into that every year. 20 years, not a whiff of scandal, which is what David Lawrence always says, and money that will be $170 million invested in the children and families, because all children are our children.
Right.
What do you find there? They won the Academy Award for Best Music, Grammy for Best Song, Golden Globe, MTV Music Award.
Did they have a
Critics'
relationship?
Choice.
Did anything happen between them?
I don't think so. Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they were ever a couple.
Oh.
He's in a relationship, and I think at the time she is too, or was.
Okay, but I'm just
Are you trying to break people up?
No, I'm not trying
We're
to break.
ready to talk about Charles and Diana.
Okay.
And how we now have Queen Consort Camilla.
Okay, so who's in the
Not
box?
our speaker, Ludmilla.
Okay, so Allison. So who's in that box with them? Is that the
Oh, I don't know.
Is that the race? It's the bike.
I think it's part of their clientele. We have a team Coral Gables, that our chamber is doing this year, led by Brian Bearcat, one of our past chairs. So you can sign up to bike, run, walk. I'm going to be doing in February walking the 5K.
Now he's the past pres, right?
Past chairman. Yeah. So Brian is leading a team Coral Gables chamber. Adrian Nunez, all these great folks. So if you're interested,
Riding the bikes,
reach out to me. You can do the bike, but you can also do the 5K, 10K, or the walk, or whatever you want to do. There's something for everybody, my friend.
Okay, we have so many things going on. We'll talk about your Instagram is continuing to grow. It seems like in the last year you're gaining.
From September 14th to the 19th. Join TikTok.
Okay, we'll join that too.
I don't know what's happening, but that was yesterday. Today begins Hispanic Heritage Month, so we're starting to kick
Kava's
that
birthday.
off.
Kava's
Daniela Levine Kava's birthday was yesterday. She's a Virgo. All my ladies are Virgos.
You are gaining at least 100 to 150 people a week on your
I don't know
Instagram.
about a week, but we're certainly growing, and there's three reasons for that. One,
Morgan's on vacation.
it's very well curated.
Okay.
Two, it's all about content. And three, we're really promoting and showcasing our members.
Well, that's the most important.
And they have a great following. And so if you're going and looking at our page where we've shared something from a member, follow us too, because you're going to get a chance to see that content shared and, co-curated, if you will. So, yeah. We're also doing a lot more on LinkedIn. I think that's going to be one of our goals as we look into 2023. We want to continue to use that.
LinkedIn is completely different.
LinkedIn is very much a professional platform, but what I find is there's a lot of sharing of information there too. Articles, congratulatory, statements, people posting about their new jobs.
Well, we post our video, right, Andres? You're going to post it after the show, right?
Yes, you'll send our links there. And, this isn't our usual day, but it's always great to be with you.
Well, you only ate 2 bites of the burger. I'm a little disappointed.
Okay,
Worry.
It's hard for me to eat on camera. It makes me feel self-conscious.
August, 3 trustees, 18 to 15.
3 trustees, a new gem, and 18 members. And
what's a new gem? What do you mean?
We had a new gem upgrade.
Who was it?
Intermediate Touch. Welcome Christina and Henry Miller. And we're now, I think, at 26 or 27 gems.
That's
and we're looking to add 3 more this year. So we're working on it already as we speak. I've already written one proposal to a current trustee who might be a great gem. And, we're doing our thing in terms of sales. We're running a great promotion right now for anybody who wants to upgrade to a trustee. We had 13 or 14 prospects at the event on Tuesday night, which is really cool because it gave us an opportunity to showcase our membership, over 100 of our members that were there, who are the decision makers, movers, and shakers of our community, and of course, a grand dame like the beautiful Mayfair House Hotel being our host. So Lucy Martin, thank you. Jennifer, everybody.
Wow, that was a good one.
What was it? I
Talking
feel like
about,
we talked about the Emmy Awards.
we haven't got there. We're going to talk about the Emmy Awards. I think we have to
Do we
talk.
spend too much time on the royal family?
Yeah, a little bit. But
You know, Charles I was beheaded.
that's right.
Charles II began his time in exile. So I think this Charles III, is things are starting out pretty well. Can you imagine, though, just for a brief moment, that your beloved mother dies on a Thursday and you become the new king, head of state, immediately?
Okay.
And you have to undertake very specific actions that you and I, if we lost a loved one, would not do.
Yeah, but
We would be with our family. We would be asking people to give us some time. We would
I
be
disagree.
eating, and sitting Shiva and covering the mirrors, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But instead, he's been in public every single day.
But he knew this months
I
ago.
understand that that's the role.
What is this? You're telling the
No, I understand
the
that's the
Brits.
role, but I just want people to appreciate, no matter the person or your feeling, that you have to mourn very publicly. Whereas here, you and I, if we lose someone, we mourn very privately.
But we'll eat a lot of food.
And we eat a lot of food. When my father died many years ago, I was working for the city of Miami at the parking authority. And I will never forget getting a call, from the HR director who said, what can we do for you? And I said, well, we have a lot of family coming in. So, if you want to send some food or whatever,
right?
That would be lovely. And Trowbridges love to eat even on a good day. So
right. On a sad day, we're going to eat more.
And then she called me back and she says, where do we call? Like, we looked on the internet and there's no, Miami has everything, nothing much in Melbourne, Florida. And I said, call Smitty's. They'll take care of it. They know our family. And if you want to send flowers, call so-and-so because they go to our church. I mean, it's a small town.
What's the church?
It's called River Run. But when I was growing up, it was the O'Galley Christian Church. But strange as can be, they were purchased by another church and taken over.
Praise the Lord.
I didn't know you could do that. So the best part was I texted her back. I go, P.S. Don't send one of those big horseshoes that you do for the Preakness. That doesn't work here. That's a very Miami thing, what is called a corona. You see that in every funeral home here.
Right.
They don't do that in Melbourne. And so she found some place that would make one, and they brought it over, I think, from Orlando. And there it was right next to old Ed's casket.
Oh, poor Ed.
A giant. And I turned to my brother at the time and I said, it's like he won the Preakness, because they'd never seen anything like that.
So let's go back.
They'd never seen anything like that. And then when my brother passed away a number of years ago, I just want to say how generous people are. I walked into the funeral home and, the family.
Where? In Melbourne? Or
this was in Ohio. And almost every single arrangement was from somebody from the chamber. The folks like Nelson Lazo and Elsa and the team at Baptist sent something, and Ron Sheffield and family sent something, and then the food was sent, to the house by Denise. And I get emotional about it because you think to yourself, they never met my brother, but they love our family because of, what we give or what I represent, or, our friendship and relationship. And I will never forget that and how special that was.
Well, the platter that I will send to you will have Wendy's burgers, Wendy's fries, a Frosty.
You know me
chili.
so well. And I remind you that a Frosty is only chocolate.
Yes.
You show up with a strawberry Frosty,
No.
I will rise up from the box
and
throw it at you.
And I know chili is a day old meat. So chili
is not day old. It's just meat that didn't make its way into a burger. It didn't have the great good fortune to make its way into a burger.
Let's talk about the Emmys. Let's talk about that blonde lady who
Jennifer Coolidge from White Lotus. So Jennifer Coolidge has been a character actor her entire career.
She's a character.
A total character. She was in shows like Legally Blonde, She was in Two Broke Girls. She's always played the same character.
Did you see this series, White Lotus?
I've never seen White Lotus.
Oh
no.
my God!
The thing is, there's so many things on TV now. I don't watch a lot of TV. I much prefer to watch sports or, news, or when something comes on that's like a series.
White Lotus.
And I tried, to binge a little bit during the summer because the Emmy Award nominations were out weeks ago,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, I loved Hacks. I love Jean Smart all the way back to she was on Designing Women. And she was so funny and biting in that. But I've never seen White Lotus. I know you want to call it White Locust. White Lotus. Is she funny in it?
Hilarious.
Yeah, well, that's her character.
She plays I don't know, divorce.
She's so unafraid about her body.
Yeah, she was
She's
like,
so
I don't know if
comfortable.
she was a widow or divorced. She's just hitting on this.
So
guy.
I will tell you, I generally pick one show a year that I'm going to invest in. It's on like kind of regular.
This was a short series,
but like on regular TV.
it might have been two. Okay,
Because I don't really, I'm never home consistently to say, oh, it's Tuesdays at 9.
yeah, but she was so funny because when the awards were over,
Yes.
I mean, they made the noise. Get off. She started
She
dancing.
danced to it. And I bet she thought about that for years. If I ever win an award, I'm going to dance when they try to play
And
me
people
up.
are
And there's
crazy.
nothing they can do
Right.
because she's on stage. And I mean, so the show that I decided to watch this year, and I watched it kind of as a spring or summer replacement, was called Abbott Elementary. And I mostly watched it because my mother was
It is
a
the
40-year
fun-
elementary school teacher. And I'm like, I'm sure I
You
recognize
saw
it.
last night. She's trying to break up with the boyfriend.
I have not seen that.
Oh my!
I've only watched a few episodes,
She
but I
can't get
will
rid of
tell
him.
you, the show is so funny. And you forget that,
Who's the director or producer?
I think the director is also the writer and the star.
Can you find
I
out?
think
Abbott,
she does all of those. But the woman who won the Emmy Award's been in the business for
Forever.
50 years.
right?
And,
Her speech was beautiful.
but it's not only her speech, but she sang. She finally got recognized. But her character is that typical jaded,
Principal.
I've been teaching. No. She's like the teacher has been teaching forever.
Kindergarten.
And that behind closed doors, she's amazing. But with the other teachers in the lounge, she's a little snarky. And, when I finished high school and came back at Christmas time, you're home for like a month from college. So I substitute taught for 2 weeks because high school was still in session. And I got called every day because people were going on vacation.
Right.
And I remember being so excited to go to the teacher's lounge because I'd been a student there and went to high school there and graduated from there, but I'd never been in the teacher's lounge. So I'm like, oh, I have free period, third period. So I sauntered down to the teacher's lounge, which a lot of their scenes are in the teacher's lounge. First of all the lights were out and it's like 11 a.m. I realized that 2 different teachers were on the couches asleep. One of them was my geometry teacher.
Oh, you're talking about
Mr. Bauknet was out. Like I didn't know how many free periods he had, but he used that time not to like do planning or grade papers or
take a nap.
he took a nap.
Right. Did you find out who's the director and producer? Andres? You find out who the director and producer of that show we're talking about?
Called Abbott Elementary.
Well, last night, before we get to the Emmys,
No.
last night, you know what I love about Abbott?
Go to the
Yeah.
the IMDb. No. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there
And
she is.
she's the star. Quinta Brunson.
But I love when they're doing the show, the movie, the series, and all of a sudden they look right into the camera, and I love that. She is hilarious. She's
Who's
trying to.
the boyfriend she's trying to break up with?
You've never seen him before. He comes around.
Oh, okay.
She's trying to get rid of him. She can't.
But I thought she liked the other
She does.
substitute
Yeah, but
that's like staying on for a while.
yeah, but in the last scene, he was holding hands with somebody, and
Oh.
but it's hilarious. She's hilarious in it.
Well, everything about it is funny. Like when people donated their printers, because that's exactly. I mean, my mom taught school for 40 years, Grant, and that was the life that she led. Was somebody donate something, and it didn't really work, but they felt good about it because they donated it.
Right. Of course, they're donating because it didn't
I'm going
work.
to drop my garbage off, and you can. And remember, the other teacher tried desperately to fix it, and it set it on fire.
To me,
That happens
this is
for real.
This is almost like Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's so many one-liners in
You
there.
have to watch each show more than once.
Yeah, and then there's a scene that they all thought this kid was brilliant, but the teacher, she kind of cheated on it. He really wasn't that smart.
No.
You know,
Does that feel autobiographical?
Yes. So when you watch it, I'm gonna call you and see if you're watching it with me.
I'm never in front of the TV. I see it either on, a replay or on demand or something. Last night I got home. What was last night? Wednesday? Oh, I had to present on a Zoom. So I got home a little after 7. It was really rainy.
On hibiscus.
Super rainy. And so, I get in the house and, the dog does not want to go out because a drop of dew on his paw is, egregious. So I'm like,
does your dog walk like this when it goes out, when it's wet?
No, because he went out this morning. The grass was still wet from yesterday because we had a lot of rain. We were getting flood advisories. But, I had to turn on all of the stuff from, the Queen's processional and the lying in state. It's not just that I'm a bit of an Anglophile. It's that I love history. This is history. You have only known one queen. I have only known one. Anybody that's, because even before she took the throne 70 years ago, she was heir apparent at 10 years old.
Right.
And then started publicly embracing that role
right off the
at
bat.
14, and then became queen at
26.
26 when her father died very early.
I remember all that.
And she pledged her whole life. So even as difficult as the last years and days were, she pledged her whole life. She would die wearing the crown.
Yeah, well, she did a great job.
Not every head of state does that. I mean, the king of Spain abdicated so his son could take the throne earlier.
All right, so let's finish with the Emmys.
Yes.
Anything else?
No, are you making another recommendation to our very significant viewer audience here today? So The White Lotus, you think is funny.
Oh, it's about a vacation.
All right. I'm offering up Hacks as a great series. 2 seasons of that are now available for you. I don't know if it's on Hulu or Amazon Prime or Netflix. I have no idea, but watch it.
That's it. We got it.
And who's your favorite actor of the moment? Who right now is like the head turner for you?
Lady Gaga. You got me all cranked up about her.
So I haven't watched all of Succession, but I did watch the first season. And that show is, every episode is a twist. And
you got to watch it closely.
Yes. But I love the fact that almost everybody on that show has an English accent.
And they all hate each other.
Well, the actors don't. But when they go up to win awards,
Right.
That he accepts it. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
he's like the head of, he married into this American, iconic family that, is so wealthy.
Who's the lead actor in Succession?
Brian Cox.
That's the father, right?
That's the father.
Who's a great actor.
He is a great actor. And you know what? This was finally his role, I don't know Star Trek Discovery, but that's a great one. We love Trowbridge tater tots. Yes, those should be on the side here, but you cannot get those at Barry's. You have to go and see Dave and the good folks at Arbetter's.
That's right. Oh, speak about.
Should we plan a date for that?
November 11th is.
I know, and I told you that's my mama's birthday.
I know you're out of town.
No, could we do it? That's a Friday, right?
Right.
Could we do it early in the day?
Yes.
Like at lunch? I don't know because.
What time do you leave to go to your mom's?
I don't know because my mother's birthday is technically the next day.
Well, we're gonna.
I'm sure we're taking her out to dinner. I have to talk to my nephew because his mother's going to also be there. I don't know if that's a surprise, but his mother's going to be there too.
Oh, that's exciting.
And so we're trying to figure all of this out. And, we're off on the Veterans Day.
But we got to wrap it up. It's time. So what's up? If you belong to a chamber, work it. If you don't belong to a chamber, go to it. The way you
whatever
work it,
organization you're involved with, put the time, effort, and investment into
I love these people who join a chamber, don't show up for anything, and at the end of the year go, we didn't get results.
We have people that do that. We try to do exit interviews with everybody who doesn't renew. And I would say the top 3 reasons that people don't renew is, number one, the person who was the liaison left. And so there's nobody to kind of take on the membership. Secondly, it may be a resource issue, which we certainly understand. Even at the $525 level, you still have to spend money to be involved. So I always tell people, budget another, $100 a month for for chamber things. So you can come to a breakfast, that's $25, or a reconnect, that's $25, so that you can participate.
Here's the deal. You join Coral Gables Chamber. The first 6 meetings, I will hold your hand and take you around and introduce you to everybody and anybody you want to.
First of all, that applies only to women. Second of all,
No, it doesn't.
Oh, you're so egalitarian.
Listen, if you want to get,
it's a really nice shirt. I feel like we're a little bit twinsy today. Yours is pink, mine's more purple.
Yeah, but the difference is, you look at your bicep, look how big you're getting, in shape.
Biceps. I've never really thought of myself as having a bicep. But
and by the way, I have to end this, not the show, but America Got Talent. Do you watch that?
I did not watch that show. Is that the one with
Simon?
Oh, Simon Cowell. He's very mean.
No, he's not. He's great.
He's mean. Is Sofia Vergara on that show?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you watch it. Did somebody win? Is the season over?
I don't think. I think tonight's it. All right, we got.
I've never watched that. I've never watched The Voice, the shows that are really popular. What was the one? American Idol. Never watched that. And so when they're like, "Oh, Kelly Clarkson won the first season," I'm like, I just know her as a talk show host, but I've never really gotten into reality shows except for Top Chef.
All right,
and I only discovered it when they did Top Chef Miami in like the 3rd or 4th season, and I knew several people working on the show, and I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. Well, it doesn't come out for another 8 months to a year.
Oh,
but you know what? Then I fell in love with Padma and the whole crew, and
No, I don't.
You ever watched that show, Padma Lakshmi?
No.
Chef, I can't think of the bald chef's name. And I love the woman who's from like the Food Magazine. I forgot everybody's name. I haven't watched it in a couple of years. I don't even know if it's still on. Actually, I know it's still on because it was up for an Emmy, and it lost to Lizzo and her show. What is her show? Big Girls?
That's a good series.
I've never seen that. What is that on?
Oh my God, your life's too busy. You got to sit.
No, it's just that by the time I come home, I want quiet. I never really had the TV on. It's me and the dog, and it's quiet. Maybe I'll have a little bite to eat, or I'll watch, whatever is happening in the news. I have to keep up what's going on because, my mother
quizzes you.
It's all about the news. Yeah, she called me on Tuesday, by the way.
And what?
To remind me to go to the grocery store because there was an impending rail strike.
Yes.
And she was very concerned that I wouldn't get milk as a growing bicep boy. So you know what I did the next day? Yesterday, I went to the grocery store. I woke up this morning. They settled the strike. I don't ever remember there being a rail strike in my lifetime, but I'm sure there were.
Yeah, you just don't know.
The rail, by the way, is important, just as our trucking companies, because we still move a lot of our produce through corn, trucking and potatoes and rail. And so in Florida, especially Miami, we're at the bottom of the peninsula. So very important to, have that group. And I think the trucking community told everybody, hey, we can't pick up the slack, so you better figure it out.
That's exactly what happened.
And so, but the president would have had at his disposal that, he could have forced them back to work, union busting. Hawley Smoot, I think, is the name of the law that was put into place years ago in terms of striking unions, et cetera, et cetera. But they figured it out on their own, thank goodness. And Mama, you can go to the store and get your milk. I hate to tell you, that's almost $5 a gallon. She doesn't like to spend that much money.
Well, you have to send it to her, $3 a week.
She doesn't like to spend that kind of money. You remember that when George H.W. Bush was asked how much a gallon of gas or a gallon of milk was, and he didn't know? And that really was the end of his reelection. Well, because the everyday person who spends hundreds of dollars a week on groceries, especially if you have teenage children, you want your president. You want your president to be in touch. So you better know what a gallon of milk costs.
And who in the press? That was a press.
Somebody in the press said, Mr. President, do you know what a gallon of milk costs? He had no idea.
But why would he? He doesn't drive.
I understand that, but that's somebody's job to say, Mr. President, I'm going to quiz you on 5 things today.
No, but
how much is a gallon of gas?
Right. How
much is it right now? It's now under $4 in some stations, but
not here.
It was on its way to $5.
I paid $4.39 right around the corner.
But you should know some of those things because that's what people are really
milk,
struggling with. I was at a New World School of the Arts board meeting this morning, and I'm lucky enough to be the board chair of that group. And we had one of our students presenting, and it was heartbreaking, Grant, because many of our students, public school students, are dealing with food scarcity. So they've had to take student government money that they raise and fill food pantries and food lockers. So students can
And
go
how
to
hard
those.
it is, the student who.
Well, the student goes there privately because they're embarrassed, maybe.
That's what I was just going to say.
But it's happening in our schools. It's happening in our community, the cost of living, the cost of groceries. I don't spend a lot on groceries because, I have breakfast meetings and lunch meetings, and I generally eat very little at dinner because that's just my lifestyle change.
I just had my dinner.
But I will tell you that when I hear people tell me that they spend $400 a week for a family of 4 or 3, it's like, wow, that's over $1,000 a month just for food on the table. And I realize they're not eating out as much as I do, and so that's where my expenses are.
Right.
But I also know that, wow, that is a lot of money. So when I was in the grocery store stocking up before the impending strike, I was thinking about that because I'm like, maybe I need to be more
Where do you shop?
frugal. When I'm at home, I shop at Milam's.
Locally owned.
Locally owned by wonderful Max Milam and his family. They have 14 family members who are part of the ownership group. He just invested multiple millions of dollars into that store. They hadn't updated it since they bought it from Piggly Wiggly in the 90s.
He's updating all the stores.
The store is beautiful in
the
Miami
one in
Springs.
Pinecrest, beautiful.
I love going there, like the way the aisles are laid out now, and it's just
Pinecrest is new.
The deli is beautiful.
The Bird Road has a beautiful location.
So Mazel Tov Max, another family-owned business, multi-generational. But they bought that Miami Springs from it was a Piggly Wiggly before that, in the 90s.
Before that?
I don't know about that. I think
Pantry
they built
Pride.
it. Was it Pantry Pride?
Yeah, we have to wrap it up.
Is there any Pantry Pride still?
Nope, that's it. Mark, let's close it out.
Well, I want to congratulate our friends at the World Trade Center Miami for a great America's Food and Beverage Show. I went to that on Monday, and I got to try out future food and beverage opportunities coming your way. Wonderful international pavilion and a hall of states. And so it's amazing what is out there in terms of the diversity of food across our country. And that includes, of course, Florida. We're not just the Sunshine State, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of our chamber, make it a great chamber week. Have a great weekend. Buy local, shop local, be local, take care of local.